Hey guys, welcome back to the All Sports Pass podcast North. My name's Eli,
Hi, Max.
and welcome back to another video. Um, and we got a lot to talk about. Yesterday, the NFL draft kicked off, and 32 selections were made. Of course, that's how it goes in the NFL. There's 32 teams, 32 selections in each round. Um, and um, and There are some really good picks that I think we need to talk about. But before we get into this video, you already know I gotta start with the verse of the day. Today's verse comes from Psalms 34:19. It says, "The righteous person may have many troubles, but the Lord delivers him from them all." And before we get into this video, leave a like, subscribe for more NFL content. And without further ado, let's begin. So, of course, for the first pick, here, we should uh, we'll put it on the screen here. Hold on. Here we go. Uh, Cam Ward to the Titans, and for me, this was not a surprising pick to me because, the Titans really needed a quarterback because trust me, and I'm trying my best to show sportsmanship and all, but they are not going anywhere with Will Levis at the helm. That's just my thought. Um, thing about Cam Ward though is that do I think Cam Ward can live up to the expectations as the first overall pick? Um, that's to be determined because you never really know once they take the field. Um, and also, the thing about it is that I'm going to tell you his stats here. Like, spent 2 seasons at Incarnate Word, which is an FCS team. Then goes and he spends 2 years at Washington State in the Pac-12, and then he spends his final year at Miami, and he ends up, finishing fourth in Heisman Trophy voting. Um, but here are his stats from his best stats were actually in his sophomore season at Incarnate Word, um, and passing, went 47 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and he ends up, I'm sorry, not best season in terms of interceptions. I'm sorry. 47 touchdowns. He went 47 touchdowns, passing touchdowns over 10 interceptions, and then of course, at Miami, compare that to like that being his second best season. This actually it was actually his best season in the FBS, and the fact is that, at Miami, he had 39 thrown touchdowns and 7 interceptions, and he had 4 rushing touchdowns. And if you remember, Miami was undefeated for a while before they ended up ultimately missing the college football playoffs, because of the fact that, they just lost. They got upset by some of these teams. So, yeah. What do you think about Cam? What do you think he's going to bring to the Titans?
So obviously we pick Cam Ward, which is a good fit, but looking back that we last two Titans draft picks, pick number one, that was Vince Young, that might get Mariota. Now Vince Young played, I believe, 4 seasons for the Titans. Had 2 good seasons, got concussed, again was never be the same. But Marcus Mariota, he had some pretty, some pretty good seasons up until like 2018, and obviously 2019 we released him for Ryan Tannehill. So
Mhm. Well, actually, I'm going to stop you right there. Actually, uh, Mariota was actually the starter over Tannehill before, of course, inconsistent play got him benched, and then it was kind of like a Tennessee Joe Milton and Hendon Hooker type deal. Um, and hold on. Oh, okay, okay. All right, I can hear you. All right. I thought you got muted for a second there. Sorry. Um, and like he got, you know, benched for Tannehill, and then look what we're let him.
So I think Cam would get a pretty good fit for his Tennessee team. Obviously, we just got Tyler Boyd from Seattle, so pair him up with Cam. I think it could be pretty good.
You mean Lockett?
Yeah.
You said Tyler Boyd. Um, but there's also another thing. Like, what people don't understand about Vince Young is that that Vince Young ended up also making 2 Pro Bowls in his career, which I think is really forgotten about. He ends up, of course, he ends up, like you say, not having really many good seasons, and he ends up, he's out of the league pretty much in 2014, and yeah, but do I think that of course, it'll be interesting what Cam can do, and can he help turn the tides around and get them back into contention, like back in the position they were when they were like threats in the AFC. I think it's going to be a bit late to tell, but can but I think it's going to be interesting to see what they can do.
Alright. So now going on to pick number 2, and it was the first trade of the night, as the Browns traded with Jacksonville to get the second overall pick, and they
Yeah, and
ended
that
up
trade.
going. And
Go ahead.
they ended up going with Travis, Travis Hunter out of Colorado. Now, we don't know which Travis Hunter they were getting. Like, will we be getting the cornerback or the wide receiver? So so me personally, I think he'll play a cornerback just because they don't really need a receiver right now with Brian Thomas Jr. Now, obviously, with Travis Lawrence scheduled a quarterback, he hasn't been doing that good in recent years. So 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 go with that. This was a pretty good pick. So.
Yeah, and here's what the Jaguars traded to the Browns. They traded the 2025 fifth overall pick, which we'll get to here shortly. And then they had the 2025 second, and the the Browns received the Jaguars 2025 second and fourth round picks, plus a 2026 first round pick. And then the Jaguars received in this the second overall pick in the 2025 draft, 2025 fourth round pick, and the 2025 sixth round pick. So of course, like here's my question. That's a pretty good deal. Because like the Browns pretty much would have 2 first round picks in next year's draft.
Yeah, but for Jacksonville, Travis Hunter is not worth 2 first rounders.
Mm-hmm. He only got but I also technically sorry, what am I trying to say? But I think they know, of course, on that Travis Hunter, Heisman winner. But do you think that Travis can live up to the hype in the NFL? As you
Yeah,
know, I do. I just think this, of course, that this fact that I personally think that Jacksonville, I personally think that Jacksonville just really needs to like they're a team in rebuilding, and what they need to do is they need to try to figure out a way to get back into the playoffs and back into playoff contention. And yeah, and I think that Travis Hunter can give them some help, but like you say, what version of Travis Hunter are we going to see? So yeah, um, and and so we're all right. So there we go. Let's take a look at the and also going the draft's going on. The second round is actually going on right now as we're recording this. So yeah. So let's go on to third pick. Third pick in the draft was Abdul Carter. And I just realized I forgot to say Travis Hunter's stats, but it's okay. But Abdul Carter, of course, let me tell you this. He comes from Penn State. He he's going to the Giants. He's a linebacker. Here are his highlights and awards. He's a unanimous All-American 2024. Big Ten, one-time Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year, which is 2024. Two-time first-team All-Big Ten 2023 and 2024, and second-team All-Big Ten in 2022. Now, of course, I'm going to be honest here. I'm like, I don't really watch too much of the Big Ten because, that's mostly your thing. What do you think about Abdul Carter?
So Abdul Carter, he was like really good last year. So obviously this was a good for the Giants. Like so, looking at him, like he's a threat to the line. Like like I think the Giants are slowly coming back. Obviously, last year wasn't great. I mean, but I think this year we do good. But they'll do good, especially with Abdul leading them. Gonna be edge. Like I think he's going to be dangerous.
Yeah, and also looking at his stats here. Here are his combined college stats. Of course, last year was his best year. He had 68 combined tackles last season, like in 2024 for Penn State, and which were 43 solo tackles and 25 assisted. His career total is in 39 games. In the 39 games he played, he has 172 combined tackles, and of course he has 5 forced fumbles in his career, and then he also has 1 interception in his career, which he returned for 18 yards. So yeah, he also had some passes deflected too. When he had a total of 13 passes deflected in his career as well. So now, do you think that the Giants, with and as you see here, we actually have a trade in the second round here, which we'll probably talk a bit more on the which we'll probably talk a bit more tomorrow. But for this, do you think that Abdul Carter? Do you think that he can be a threat and potentially help New York, get more wins in order to get back into playoff contention?
I think yeah, especially for the Giants got later on. Like like I think this team will be a playoff team by like 2028, 2029.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but hey, you remember this? You want to know some little fun fact for y'all? Did you know that the only person to did you know that Tom Brady in 2 attempts and I'm saying out of it has to have been 2 attempts, at least 2 matchups in the Super Bowl. Tom Brady could not be Eli Manning and the Giants in the Super Bowl. And that's just I just figured I'd give you a little trivia there. All right, then moving on to our next pick, New England Patriots selected Will Campbell, offensive tackle from LSU. And if I'm being honest, let's take a look at his stats here. And I'm going to be honest, that for Campbell, okay, it doesn't look like his stats are on here. So we're just going to have to say his highlights and awards. He won the Jacobs Blocking Trophy in 2024. He's a consensus All-American in 2024, 2-time first-team All-SEC 2023 and 2024, and second-team All-SEC in 2022. So I'm just curious, what do you think that, and of course, for everyone who follows the NFL knows that the Patriots have not been the same without Tom Brady and Gronk. So what do you think you need to do? What do you think Will Campbell can bring to this team, in terms of the O line?
Now obviously Drake May needs protection. So I think this was a great pick by the Patriots. Obviously, Will Campbell was the best guy for the O line. So I think he'll be really good trying to protect May this season again going forward. So yeah.
Yeah. So, and of course, and I'm also going to be honest, of course, with the fact that I've been covering a lot of high school football, and covering college football. Like Max is mostly going to be the guy to answer most of these questions because of the fact that I didn't really watch too much NFL this year. But I do think this though that do you think that the Patriots have a shot to go far in the season? Like, of course, with reinforcing the O line with Will Campbell.
No. Then
That
because dude, last year was just like not that good. This year you could be better, but the people will go but teams can rid of it and but not they play off it this season.
hmm And also on the stat, actually, it said up here it said 13 different starters on the O line in 2024, which is insane. So the Patriots, they got a lot of work to do if they want to get back to where they were. But yeah, so moving on to pick number 5, Mason Graham and Max. You can also just say this here because I know you're a Michigan fan, so you know way more about this guy than I do.
So Mason Graham was the best defensive tackle go for Michigan for this years. Like obviously last year he was pretty good, getting 45 tackles. Uh, I mean, and like he's just the absolute monster. The gun by D line. Like like he has been the best guy like consistently since uh Aiden Hutchinson got drafted. So obviously the Browns got a stud. Now compare him with Miles Garrett can be can be Browns D line is like gonna not go crazy.
Yeah, and like of course, when I mentioned his awards here, he of course won the national championship with Michigan in 2023. He's a unanimous All American 2024, second team All American 2023, two-time first team All Big Ten 2023 and 2024, and he ends up getting a defensive MVP in the Rose Bowl in 2024, and he ends up also becoming a freshman All American in 2022. So this guy is pretty good. All right. So next pick we're going to talk about is one that I honestly expected to go in the top 5. Like that's just in my opinion, and that's Ashton Genty. He finished, and in my opinion, and if you remember that Heisman video we did, I believe it was the night of the award. No, the day of, and I straight up predicted Ashton to win it. And then of course Travis Hunter ends up winning it. But I think this, that of course, he's from Boise State. He ends up, finishing runner up in the Heisman, and he basically check out his stat. These are just his single season stats from his final season at Boise State. 374 rushing attempts, 2,601 yards, and which is an average of 7.0 yards, 29 touchdowns. And he ends up, like receiving for that year. He only gets one receiving touchdown. But in my opinion, it's a good pick for the Raiders. Like, cause I think Ashton is a threat in the backfield. Like a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah. Now obviously but he did get be 2,000 against 600 yards get was with Boise State and then be mad conference, but looking at the Raiders, I think he'll be pretty good. Obviously, see down here his pro comp is Alvin Kamara, so I think
Fellow volunteer, by the way. For those who don't know, Alvin Kamara actually played at Tennessee.
yeah, like I think Gaston Jenkins the could be the Raiders guy going forward. like his offense is about to go crazy with him and Brock Bowers. So so obviously the Raiders fans just wish that Henry Ruggs was still on the team because I think this team would be a force to be reckoned with.
Hmm. Yeah, and also with the fact that with Genty, I think that of course, like just off these stats, can he continue like that momentum from college into the NFL? Like I say, it's gonna be interesting to see what he does. But and also, I'm gonna be honest, I'm counting down the days to football season. Like I just cannot wait for that first kick. So yeah. Um, and let's take a look. And yeah, so that's all I got for him. All right, I'm gonna be honest. This next guy, I do not know who this is.
Yeah, so obviously he was the offensive tackle from Missouri. Uh, he he been a 4.91 second 40 yard dash, which is like get- which is like super impressive for a good offensive tackle.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
yeah, and here are his awards. His award is a second team All SEC 2024. And that's really all it is here. So yeah. And here's the thing, like, personally, for the SEC teams, I only because of course I'm a Vols fan, so I mostly only watch Tennessee. um, yeah. So I'm gonna be honest. Like when I heard of this guy, I'm gonna be honest. I did not know who he was. So yeah. Um, but however, you see his pro comparison is to Jason Peters. So yeah. All right. Next pick is another guy. I'm gonna be honest. I haven't really heard of. Uh, to Teriora McMillan. I don't know how you say it. I don't know if I said your name right, sir. um, like his he's a wide receiver from Arizona. And you see right here his pro comparison is to Michael Thomas, and I'm gonna be on his. I'm actually on his stats here. So let's take a look at what he did here. So he has so he had a well, actually, 2023 was his best year. He had basically his college total was 26 total touchdowns, um, receiving. And on here, his career highlights and awards. He's the Polynesian College Football Player of the Year in 2024. His Census All American 2024. First team All Big 12 2024. The second team All Pac 12 2023. So I'm gonna be honest, like for some of these guys like that I've never really heard of. Like I just try the best I can, really. But I think it's gonna be interesting to see what he does, because so I do think that of course, like when you have Matt Miller's comparison to Michael Thomas, you know that there's some hype behind this guy. So let's see what he can do in the NFL once the season starts. You got anything you want to say?
so me personally, I think this was a reach for the Panthers, mainly they need offensive tackles because their O line is not that good. So I think like go think for like a tackle he would have been better in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So next one we got is a Kelvin Banks, junior from Texas. Um, he he's an offensive tackle for the Saints. Here are his awards. He's an Outland Trophy winner. Wins the Lombardi Award. Wins the Jacobs Blocking Award. Unanimous All American. And all these I'm saying from 2024, and then starting 2023. He's a second team All American, first team All SEC in 2024 because that was Texas' first year in the SEC. And then the first team All Big 12 2023 and the second team All Big 12 in 2022. Pro comp is Rashawn Slater. And of course for Texas, you take a look at like Texas this season, like they end up, you know, defeating everybody except for Georgia, and then they end up losing. And they end up, losing. Dang, who was it? Man, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I think you can tell how fast time flies with the fact that they lost to Ohio State. Okay, yeah. I think you can tell how fast time flies because I'm gonna be honest. I completely forgot who they lost to for a minute. However, I really think this. That, whenever I saw Texas play, is that I really noticed that how they were able to get down the field, and that's just really what intrigued me so much. So I think it's gonna be interesting to see what he can do in the NFL. But so let's see how he can do to reinforce the line here. What do you think about him?
I think he could be good for the Saints.
Mhm.
That's really all I have. But
Yeah. All right. Next one we got is Colston Loveland for the Bears, tight end. Played in Michigan. So of course I'm gonna hand the mic over to you.
so Carson Loveland was the best Michigan tight end. Like we passed like probably 8 years. Uh, him go flip into to the base. The base did not need the tight end. Can even if they did, the Penn State tight end was better. So like I don't think the Bears really needed him. Uh, so his pro comp gets to Sam Laporta. So fellow Lion.
All right. Also, due to time constraints, we're gonna have to unfortunately like give brief summaries of each pick because we're only on the 11th pick. So unfortunately we're just gonna have to give brief summaries now. But the next guy we got is Michael Williams, who played at Georgia. Of course, second team All SEC in 2023 and 2024. You're still on Colston Loveland. And you have Michael Williams. It's this comparison to Trayvon Walker. And then Trayvon, of course, he was actually the first overall pick in the draft in 2022. So yeah. And so here we think here, of course, he ends up, winning the national championship with Georgia in 2022, and he's the second team All SEC in 2023 and 2024. And of course, I do think this that in seeing Georgia this year, like Georgia ends up, losing 2 regular season games. They lose to Alabama and they lose to Ole Miss before ultimately losing in the playoffs to Notre Dame. So that's what we got going on there. So I really think that of course, with this guy, I think that he can help reinforce the team. But what do you think about him?
So think that this is a good pick for my B9s. So cause like I think they need it. So I think this was a good pick for them.
Mm-hmm. And then the next pick, we got Tyler Booker from Alabama going to the Cowboys. And, I'm gonna be honest, Alabama really did not have don't let the record fool you. They did not have a good year this year. They end up, everybody's gonna talk about this, for years to come. They end up beating Georgia, I believe, the week before. You know what happens? They lose the next. They're the number 1 team in the nation. Keep this in mind. They get blown. They get not blown out, but beaten by Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt dominated that game too. And so, and of course, Alabama then loses to Tennessee, and then Oklahoma, and then they lose to Michigan. At the they lose to Michigan at the hold on. I was just on it, man. Hold on. There we go. They lose to Michigan at the ReliaQuest Bowl. So that's what I think here now. I personally say with all these losses, they get blown out by Oklahoma. They lose to Tennessee by 7. They lose to Vanderbilt by 5. What do you think about Tyler Booker? Or did I already ask you this?
I think he was just a little though too excited to play for the Cowboys.
Yeah. All right. Now, then this next one here is a Michigan guy, so you already know what to do.
So Kenneth Grant, he was another really good defensive tackle for the Michigan Wolverines. Like let me personally, I think the Dolphins should the pick Will Johnson with this pick, but considering he has knee problems, this was a really good pick for the Miami Dolphins. Like especially because they're having trouble gun the defense now, so this was a good pick for them.
Okay. So let's all right, so let's move on here, and then we have after for the 14th pick going to the Colts, Tyler Warren, and Max. Since you're also the Big Ten guy, like I'm gonna be honest, like he's compared to Greg Olson, so yeah. Let's take a look here actually at his stats though. He ends up, like senior year was actually his best year. Had 1,233 receiving yards, 8 receiving touchdowns, and 4 rushing touchdowns as well. So, what do you think about him?
So he might obviously be best tight end in the draft. Again, was the best tight end going to be on my Big Ten this season.
All right. So, that's all I said, guys. Since we have time constraints, so we can only give a brief summary here. So, yeah. All right. Next pick we have Jalon Walker from Georgia. He ends up winning the Butkus Award and the first team All American award in 2024, as well as the second team All SEC. He's a linebacker, and yeah. So, what do you think about him?
This was a pretty good pick for the Falcons. Like, like obviously they needed a linebacker break, so I think he'll be pretty solid.
All right. So, and we're actually going to get back to the Falcons as well later on, as they also made a pretty good pick in my opinion for the 26th pick. But we're going to have to move on here. And then the next pick we have Walter Nolan going to the Arizona Cardinals. And fun fact, Walter Nolan actually went to one of the high schools that I cover. He went to Powell. So yeah. But Walter Nolan, like here his stats. Like he played at Texas A&M, then played 1 season at Ole Miss. His career stats combined 114 total tackles. And so I think he's a force to be reckoned with on that defensive line. So that's what I think. So what do you think about Walter?
I think both do will be really good. The Cardinals, obviously, base base still developing team. So I think base should what be Cardinals needed.
All right. So here we go with the next one. Shamar Stewart played going to Cincinnati. He is a defensive end, and there's not much on here for him. So yeah, so we're just gonna have to go with this here. It goes 11 tackles for loss and 4.5 sacks in three seasons at Texas A&M. His tape is better than his production, and it says he's a physical and explosive player who gets off the ball well, shoots his hands, and uses long arms to press blockers off the frame. And if I'm being honest, though, like, I really do not know too much about this guy, so I think we're gonna have to just skip him here. Yeah. We have Gray Zabel, who's from North Dakota State. Why am I misspelling everything? North Dakota State. He ends up, and when we get up here, when we talk about North Dakota State, we're talking about, he's a two-time FCS national championship with the Bison, two-time FCS national champion with the Bison, 2021 and 2024. First team FCS All-American 2024 and first team All Missouri Valley Football Conference of 2024. And here we got here, we got here, as we stay right here, stated right here, he it seems like he's a pretty big guy. So Elton Jenkins is his pro completion. So and I really do think that this is a good pick for the Seahawks, as you see on the post draft analysis. The Seahawks needed a line, and I think that of course, this is why not get him. So yeah. All right. Next one we got Emeka Egbuka, I think is how you say his name. Play at Ohio State. Max, do you happen to know anything about Ohio State?
So he
I'm
was
sorry, not this guy.
So he was pretty good for the Buckeyes. But in my opinion, he was not a great first draft pick. At least probably Buccaneers, since they have a lot of Ian Evans. Plus they got Dylan McMill last year, so they just don't think that was very good of a draft pick.
Okay. All right, and like I said, guys, we're only doing a brief summary because of time constraints, so we just got to move on here. Next one we got is Jahdae Barron, who played for the Texas. He's going to Denver. Won the Jim Thorpe Award in 2024. That's All American 2024. First team All SEC 2024. Second team All Big 12 2023. So yeah. So of course, in here we got and it doesn't have his stats here, so we're just gonna skip him, unfortunately. But yeah, so y'all see here, he also has he also says here he's a playmaker. He tied for second in the SEC with 5 interceptions in 2024. He's a tough run defender who limits production after the catch. So yeah. All right, next pick we got Derek Harmon. He's going to Pittsburgh from Oregon. And he's a defensive tackle. And yeah, so on his here it says he stacks blockers and sheds them in time to make plays on the ball. He's quick and strong enough to make to press the B gap and squeeze the A gap when lining up over the inside shoulder of the offensive tackle. And the Steelers also, like it says here, it says despite the need a quarterback, they also earned a draft questions along the defensive line. So yeah, I personally think this is a good pick for the Steelers because I really think they really need to reinforce that defensive line. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this was a good pick. This this was not really a good pick for the Steelers because they needed the quarterback badly. So I think they should have got either Dewey Sanders or Jackson Dart. But but uh but all but huh. So his mom died last night. So we think one of the last things she saw was him getting drafted, which was pretty cool. So oh yeah,
Rest in peace to his mom.
Yeah.
All right, so next pick we got is the Chargers, they took Omarion Hampton from North Carolina, running back. He's a two-time first-team All-American, 2023-2024, two-time first-team All-ACC, 2023 and 2024. His college career, he had 36 rushing touchdowns, 4 receiving touchdowns, and yeah. So, what do you think about this pick of by Jim Harbaugh for the Chargers?
Why? They have Najee. They have Corum. They have they have a fishing guy. They did not need another running back.
I'm gonna agree with you there, man. Yeah, but it is gonna be interesting to see what they do here. So yeah. All right, and so like I said, guys, this last time I'm gonna say this time constraints. So we're doing a brief summary. All right, let's All right, and now you have the Green Bay Packers, who are my favorite NFL team, the NFC. Took Matthew Golden from Texas. He second team All Big 12 2023. In his college career, 22 receiving touchdowns and 2 kick return touchdowns. So yeah, of course he played his first 2 years at Houston before transferring to Texas, and yeah. So let's So I think it's interesting to see what they do here. The Packers, like this, their first wide receiver taken in the first round in a long time. So yeah, and it says here, he led the FBS with 23 catches of 20 plus yards last season. Had the quickest 40 time of any offensive player at the combine with a 4.29. They have a quarterback at Jordan Love in a potent run game. Now it adds the post draft analysis. Matt Miller's a wide receiver 2 in this class with Golden. So yeah. All right, next pick we got is Donovan Jackson going to the Vikings. He's an offensive guard. He played at Ohio State, so you know what to do, Max.
No, he was pretty good for the Buckeyes. Yeah, especially the feeling guy. He was the best left guard last season. So.
Yep. All right, and then the next one I think probably shocked me, like, because there are rumors because there are people like thinking of the Giants taking Shadur, but it ended up being Jackson Dart, and from what I've seen with Jackson Dart is this, like, he was at Elite Ole Miss to a pretty good season, won first team All SEC in 2024, and of course he also hold on, where is it at? Hold on, he basically started 38 games at Ole Miss, and he led the team to back-to-back 10-win seasons. And he finished the program as the program's all-time leader in passing yards, surpassing Eli Manning. And his career high was actually last year at Ole Miss, which he had 29 passing touchdowns and 6 interceptions, and yeah. So, what do you think about Jackson?
The Fish was a great pick by the Giants. I think he's better than Dave Benama Sadu, in my opinion. So I'm like, yeah, I think Fish is going to be a really good season for the Giants.
All right. So the next pick, the one we talked about, the Falcons, James Pierce Jr. from Tennessee. Two-time first-team All-SEC selection, 2023 and 2024. And, during basically as a true freshman, he ends up, playing all 13 games, had 5,002 sacks in 2022. Turned Tennessee for sophomore in 2023, and he ranked third in the SEC for sacks and fifth in the SEC regarding tackles for loss in 2023. And I personally think that I think that, of course, James Pierce Jr. is a force to be reckoned with. Like, as you know, he ends up having the quickest 10-yard split. He ran a 4.5 40 time. And it says that he can redirect and beat blockers to the inside when they take away the edge. Despite having shorter arms for an edge, Pierce can shoot his hands at transition from speed to power. So, yeah, he's a disruptive run defender who slips, blocks, and gets into gaps. He looks natural dropping into coverage. So, yeah, I think it's a good pick for the Falcons.
Yeah.
All right, then the next pick we got Malachi Starks from Georgia going to Baltimore. And Malachi Starks won a championship with Georgia in 2022. He's a consensus All-American in 2023, first-team All-American in 2024, two-time first-team All-SEC 2023 and 2024, and freshman All-American in 2022. He was Georgia's starting true safety as a true freshman. Did I say true safety?
Yeah.
Sorry, free safety is what I meant. So yeah, so he was named a consensus All-American as a sophomore, and he declared for the draft. So yeah, right here, we got the reading here. So yeah, all right. It says he'll miss some tackles, but he tends to square and wrap up. He gets downhill and closes effectively as a run defender. So yeah, so what do you think about this pick for Baltimore?
I think it was a good pick for them.
All right. So next one we got is Tyleik Williams going to Detroit, and since it's Ohio State, I'll give it to you, Max.
So this was a good pick for Detroit. Now, Williams could be really good, especially with Hurts going back to line. But my opinion, we should have gotten Marshall Edge, because I think he was like the best edge that we could have gotten.
All right. So let's do that. So yeah, let's move pretty good pick. So now I got Josh Connerly Jr. to the Commanders, and he also played for Oregon. And Max, I also know you watched Oregon. So what'd you see of this guy?
I think he did pretty good protecting Dylan Gabriel this season.
So you think it's a good pick for the Commanders?
Yeah.
All right, and so next pick we got is Maxwell Hairston. You're still on Josh here. And he's a cornerback going to the Bills from Kentucky, and his college statistics are here are his career. He has 87 combined tackles, 3.0 tackles for loss, 6 interceptions, and he has 3 interceptions returned for touchdowns. So, also, I personally think this could be a good pick for the Bills. Keep reinforcing their defense, because it seems like every year the Bills get closer and closer and closer to going to that Super Bowl, but then they end up, of course, meeting the Chiefs, and it just ends up not working out. So yeah. All right, next pick we have is by the Philadelphia Eagles, Geod Campbell. He is a linebacker, play for Alabama, and he's the first team All-SEC 2024. Basically, you only get there's not too many here, but he had 1 tackle on the season as a freshman. 2023, he recorded 7 tackles in a win over Ole Miss. The following week, he tallied 14 tackles with 1 going for a loss and interception over Mississippi State. And he notched 10 tackles and recovered a fumble, which he returned for 24 yards for a touchdown, a 34-21 over Tennessee. This is 2023. Says that he reads his keys and tracks the ball well. Sideline run defender. He tied for the 4th fastest 40-yard dash for linebackers in the combine. So, yeah, I personally, of course, after seeing Jihad on the field, I personally think that, that Jihad, this was a good pick for Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this was also a traded pick. They actually traded the 31st pick. The 32nd pick to Kansas City. So, yeah. And the last pick we have is Josh Simmons, who went to Ohio State. So, Max, I'm gonna let you finish out the video here.
So, Josh Smith was the best defensive tackle for Ohio State this year.
Mhm.
Now he did really good protecting the quarterback. Obviously, he won the national championship. So, I think did really good.
And all right, so that's all the picks we got. Yeah, that's gonna end the video for tonight. If y'all like this here, get a like, subscribe for more NFL content. Keep in mind, we're still learning, and these are our reviews. These are what we think about these guys. So yeah. With all that being said, peace out. God bless, and have a good night.